So someone asked, weird question. Currently I'm in a drug habit with weed and benzos. Opiates I quit 2 weeks ago. Now my friends that I grew up with don't feel comfortable hanging out with me because yesterday I was pretty out of it, let's say. Should I take a break with the group? I just, when I'm on them, I enjoy the silence and my thoughts stop. So you say when you're on the opiates, you enjoy the silence and your thoughts stop. That's because you see, your natural state is peaceful, right? Consciousness is peaceful. And then the first thing that comes out of this consciousness is the experience of peace. So the body, without being traumatized, without being identified, without having any substances in the body, is in its natural state is pretty peaceful. When it's not desiring something outside of itself, the body is something that's pretty peaceful. Now, when you become traumatized and you don't know how to deal with those intense emotions, then they are stuck in your body as something, as an energetic something that you can feel in your solar plexus, or just somewhere in your body. It feels like darkness. It feels like a contraction. It feels like a negativity. It doesn't feel good. It feels uncomfortable to be with that sensation, and you don't know how to deal with it. And by the way, I'm just talking from my personal experience, but I have helped some people and they have the same experience and it helped them. So you have accumulated a lot of darkness because you didn't know how to process the pain. Then out of that comes a desire. The mind makes up a desire. The mind says, if life would look like that, or if I would take this substance, or if I would have more money, if I would have, you know the story. When the mind comes up with desire, then you are becoming a slave of something. You see, because you should be centered as you are right now. You should experience peace as you are without being a slave to something external to you that is giving you peace for a temporary moment. When you're with yourself and you're experiencing peace, then you're independent. You're free. You're powerful. When your inner peace depends on something that's outside of you, then you're becoming a slave. And when you're on those substances, and you can just for a temporary moment experience the full peace of being, because what the substance does, it's not giving you peace. The substance doesn't give you peace. The substance is just turning down the volume of the pain. So that's why you say only when you're on the substance you can enjoy the silence and the thoughts that are no longer there. the stillness. You can enjoy the stillness. So if you are really serious about becoming independent again, finding peace in yourself without being a slave to something outside of you, then you have to take a break with the group and also get rid of everything that is numbing down your inner chaos. If you would just completely now cold turkey stop with everything and you would just be with yourself, then your whole internal world would turn against you because it doesn't feel comfortable. It is just that because you were suffering inside, you were becoming part of this group, or you're still part of this group because you know that when you're with this group, you all do something that is tranquilizing the inner chaos, so it feels good. And you take the opiates and the weed and the benzos because it's tranquilizing you. So your life is filled with things that distract you from your inner pain. And when you're getting rid of all the distractions, then you're really becoming aware of your pain. So you're aware of your pain, and that's the gateway that you have to go through. Just the pain is the path to heaven. If you really want to have real inner peace, you have to go to the pain. Because, heaven, as you already know maybe, heaven is always the present moment. So, if you want to attain heaven right now, You have to become aware of the present moment. You see, in this awareness, there is no differentiation between the inner world and the outer world. All are movement in the same consciousness. You see, the present moment here right now is heaven as it is, but people are not satisfied with that because there's something that's part of heaven, and it's the inner pain. There's something that's part of this present moment, that's the inner pain. People are feeling this inner pain and they say, I want to take drugs so I don't feel it anymore. That's how painful it is. People kill themselves because of this pain. See, now if you're serious about really seriously attaining this inner peace without being a slave to something that's outside of you, you have to really cut everything off that's distracting you from this inner pain. And then sit with it, go through it, understand your own reactions, understand your own emotions. And how does that look in practical, in practice? It's really just sit down and see what happens. The first thing that's going to show up is the way you really feel, without the social mask. Normally, we're not aware of how we really feel because we don't want to be the one that feels like that, even though that would be our authentic self. So we act as if we feel good, or if we act as if we are feeling strong. And that's the social mask, that's the ego, that's the one that's pretending, that's the one that seems to be the doer, that's the one that says, I'm doing fine, even though deep inside it's just not fine. And you're no longer pretending that you're feeling different than you really feel. You're no longer consuming things that are numbing down the way you really feel. It's really that you have to face that darkness. And I'm promising, when you are sitting with that darkness and you start to more and more understand it and accept it, you turn it into your friend, then it's going to dissolve. Not because you have found a way to just destroy it, but because you have found a way to understand it and to show love to it. And then you will basically become whole and understand that you're whole. You don't need anything from the world because you're already fulfilled. Then you look at the world and you see that the world is just as fulfilled as you are already. There's nothing that you can add on to yourself or the world. And then you can look at your old friend group and your substances without feeling that they have something in them that could bring you fulfillment. So it could just no longer turn you into a slave. It can no longer become your master. You're no longer idolized, by these things. You're no longer turning them into your idols. You shouldn't have false gods. The only God that you should serve is the pure beingness, and it doesn't need anything outside of that, because there is no outside. And then when you understand that you're already fulfilled and everything is fulfilled, then you know that you cannot take anything from the world. Normally we think that we have a self and the self can suffer, and the more we have, the less it suffers, and the one who's almost not suffering is living very comfortable life is the one who has the most. But in reality, that doesn't work, because the more you have, and at the same time being identified with it, believing that it will give you something, the more you will realize that the things actually have you, and you're no longer free. So, in your attempt to become whole, you have consumed something that is now your master, and you're a slave to it. And you have to, if you want to become free of it, you have to just break the connection between you and the thing, and just feel the gap, feel the inner emptiness, feel the inner lack, and find out that actually, in the end, it wasn't really a lack. It was just a sensation that you have had to go through. And when the process is done, you realize that actually you're whole. You don't need anything, and therefore you can finally enjoy the world as it is without trying to take something from it, but just enjoy it, not consume it, but enjoy it. There's a difference. But that to the body, that can be hard process, because maybe just take away something. You could already be proud of yourself for quitting opiates. Don't take them anymore, and just, you probably already now, by cutting away opiates, you're already feeling lack, you're already feeling negativity. That's powerful. You have to go into that negativity, be grateful for the negativity, be there with it. It will show you something. It wants to show you something. It wants to show you who you truly are. It wants to make you lay down that social mask that's pretending to feel different that it actually does. You have to meet yourself on this deep level where you can finally say, yes, I am suffering. And you're no longer trying to escape from that. And you stay in that pain. And you go deeper into that pain. And you feel it more intense and more intense and more intense. And then at a certain point, you realize that actually you feel fulfilled without taking opiates anymore. So then you can cut away your benzos and then do the same thing again until you need less and less and less. And you realize more and more that you're already fulfilled. And you can just be in your original state, which is peace, without having to take it from, without trying to find the same fulfillment in the outside because you're already fulfilled. It's a process. The realization of enlightenment, non-duality, that everything happens in the same awareness, that there is no I, there's just consciousness. That's an instant realization. But then when you have that realization, you are in the now. Consciousness is the now. And then there's still something, part of the now, that doesn't feel good. There's still the suffering that was accumulated because of the belief in a personal self that needs to do something in order not to feel the pain. So it will still be there. Be aware of it. Go through it. Show love. Show compassion. Turn it into a friend, not an enemy. Don't try to escape from it. Be happy if it is here, and then it will slowly pacify. Not because you take a substance that helps you, but because you're shining your consciousness onto it. And then you don't need all these things anymore.